he's just distributed child pornography. That's the problem.
That's scary.
And, someone's brain is not fully developed until they're 27 years old. So you don't even have somebody that is able to rationally think of the consequences because they're living in the moment, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they don't think, okay, I've just taken a picture of my genitals. I sent it to Susie, and next week she might be mad at me. And this is a mini computer. It never goes away. And these kids think, well, I sent it to him on Snapchat. Okay, so they opened the picture, and now the picture's gone. I'm like, do you realize that your phone is a mini computer? So even though Snapchat has deleted it 10 seconds after it was opened, it's still on your phone in the background here. All it takes is a computer forensic expert to take your phone and find that picture. So even though Snapchat's deleted it, she's not able to see it anymore. No one else is able to see it. It's still on your phone, period, and these kids don't get that because they don't comprehend the consequences of their actions.
Well, what scared me back a few years ago, I know we're totally off the subject, but, I have 2 daughters and 6 boys. And I had one boy that, put it this way, really liked girls a lot. And as a joke, every so often, I guess, this is going back maybe 10 years ago. But all of a sudden, my cell phone, I get a message, open up, and here's this young teenage girl flashing on my phone. My son sent me a picture of his girlfriend he just broke up with, saying, hey, Dad, isn't she a dog? And I go, don't send me, I don't want that on my phone. Don't send me stuff like that, please.
Right.
Don't realizing that's enough to, how do you explain that one away? So, I mean,
Yep.
people got to be careful.
Yep.
Absolutely. Don't even open up messages, emails, because, it scares me on that. People don't realize every email you send, okay, just isn't being, stored on a server somewhere. I like Michael knows, I have a guest that's been on several times. He was with the DOD for 10 years. And he informed me every single message you email, I send you, you send me, goes, well, besides going to Google, it goes to a government building somewhere, and it's stored. This in case they want to use something against you.
Oh, the government has their hands in lots of stuff that the general public has no idea about.
I don't know. How do you feel about that, Michael?
Well, I just feel that when I operate anything electronically, even when it's turned off, I have the suspicion that it's being recording, whatever it wants to record. So I remember Edward Snowden when he initially got in touch with the Guardian reporter and wanted to come out about the revelations that he had about the NSA. He asked this guy to take his battery out of his phone, not just turn it off, and then take all the parts of the phone and put it in the freezer of the hotel refrigerator that they're at before he would even talk to them. So, I mean, with smartphones, with all the smart TVs, God forbid, even the smart meters that are on your house nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume that everything that we do is being monitored in various ways.
Well, remember I told you, Michael, that this individual, which you're going to have as a guest, basically he was in this living room talking to his wife. He wanted to go out and buy a bicycle, a certain beach bicycle that is really rare. And all of a sudden, he didn't have a cell phone nearby, no nothing, just they had the TV going. Guess what started popping up on his phone the next morning? That brand bicycle and where he could find it at was all of a sudden starting to pop up on his phone. Now, what's that tell you? Something is up and something is strange.
Did he do any Google searches?
No, he said he absolutely did not.
Because I was going to say, I know that...
This is a guy who was with the DOD for 10 years.
Because I know the minute you search anything on your computer, it starts showing up on Facebook and on your phone, and you start randomly getting emails, and it shows up on the side profile. It's they have things too also with, it's called geofencing. And like, you know, if you've ever shopped at Kohl's or they have your email, because I know it happens to me all the time. Like if I get within a 10-mile radius of Kohl's, or I haven't been in Kohl's for a while, all of a sudden I'll get a text message, hey, we noticed you drove by. And I'm like, what? You know, it's like so crazy. And I just had an article in my National Criminal Defense magazine that I got maybe 2 months ago. You know those little things that pick up those little vacuum cleaner things, those robo whatever them things are, them round saucer.
You mean clean up your living room where you don't have to do it yourself?
Yeah, they vacuum or whatever. They were talking about how those are relaying information as well because they're, you know, GPS connected and all that good stuff. It's like there's so many things that we're using as convenience items that are tracking our information, locations, things of that nature. Cell phones is the same thing. Even when they're off and in airplane mode, that stuff, there's still, was it Dateline or 2020, one of those shows, they did something where they had the phone off and one in airplane mode, and both of them tracked the same information, whether they were on or in airplane mode or not. They were able to find out where they were, what locations they were at, what times, you know, latitude, longitude, all that good stuff. And it's like, you know, people have no idea how much information the government has access to from us on a regular basis because of technology and the things that we're allowing, you know. Even though people say, oh, no, we'll never, you know, we won't be microchipped, you know, it's like, who would have ever thought we had to get strip searched at the damn airport, take your shoes off and all of that stuff. And now because of 9/11, it's, well, I don't want my plane to blow up, so I'm willing to sacrifice my rights and be felt up at the airport and remove my shoes and all that stuff and not travel with knitting needles because they might poke somebody's eye out, or I might be able to take down a plane with it, or, you know, whatever. We're willing to sacrifice that freedom because it's better for the good. And so when they start taking little liberties away because of things like that, people just go, oh, well, that's okay because, and before you know it, it turns into big liberties that are being taken away.
Well, I hate to say it, eventually it's going to turn into a police state. I don't know how you feel, Michael, but I do. I think it's the point right now. Everything you do, you know, everything you say, like I said, anything you type on the internet, your phone, you know, it really scares me as I was listening to a thing. Even a certain Samsung phone, you could have it turned off. The phone wasn't so bad. The battery was actually picking you up and sending out information. And there was a little chip on the battery that if you peel the wrapper off and cut the chip off, then it couldn't do it.
But who knows that? Most common people don't know that. They would never know to take their phone apart and check the battery. I mean, none of us would. It doesn't come with a memo that says, P.S., by the way, I'm going to track you, and even though you shut me off, you need to take the back off and unhook the battery and remove the chip. Nobody tells you that, right?
Well, you know, that's what scares me. Why are they so inquisitive of everything that we're doing? I mean, you have no freedoms anymore. I mean, you know, it's scary that, you know what, you can spend a few bucks and find out dirt almost about everybody or anybody on the internet. Because
it's free. Just Google it.
Yeah. I apologize for getting off the subject. Let's get back on to what you do. And I am sorry, but, you know, I just really, some of these things just bug me. And since you're a criminal attorney, I just had to, you know, voice my opinion on some things. I apologize.
Sure. No worries.
So when did you notice that you had this ability and what made you act on it? I can understand the frustration, you know, going through and, you know, having a brain tumor, not knowing if you're going to live or not, the pressure. I mean, you must be under immense pressure when being a criminal attorney. I mean, I don't know how many people could actually do it. I mean, you probably carried a lot of that stuff home with you at night. In relationships, I know that has to affect relationships and everything else. So why the big change? I mean, from one thing to 180-degree opposite.
Well, really, for me, it was the struggle that I had during the trial and then figuring out what it was that would bring me joy and happiness again. I felt like I was really struggling with that. And for me, I had always dreamed that, I was going to be a criminal defense attorney and a trial lawyer. And for a long time, that was what brought me happiness and joy. And then it got to a point where the kill for me in the courtroom was not fun anymore. And, even now I have to really get myself grounded and centered before I go to court, because the minute I walk into the courtroom, I can feel my heart rate go up, my breathing pattern changes, I instantly go into fight mode, my voice raises, and even though I am the same person, I really physically change. I am not the same as when I'm out with my horses. When I'm out with the horses, I'm very grounded and centered and relaxed. And, you are correct. My stress was through the roof. I could go on a trip to Mexico for 7 days and lay on the beach and come back, and I'd be like, oh, I'm so relaxed. And my doctor would be like, you are not relaxed. You are stressed out. And I'm like, I just was in Mexico for 7 days laying on the beach in the sun drinking margaritas. What do you mean I'm not relaxed? And he's like, you function at such a high level of stress that, first of all, most normal people wouldn't even be able to hang. And what you are at your relaxed state is what normal people are at stressed out. So you don't even know what relaxed is. And now I definitely know the difference.
I bet you 2-1 when you were laying on that beach, drinking those drinks, margaritas, right? Enjoying the sun.
Yeah.
I bet in the back of your mind, I'm willing to bet you were thinking of cases popping in your mind every so often.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, by the time you get to day 7 is when you're finally really starting to relax. And it's time to come back home and go to work, You never really fully get to relax because, like I said, it takes 2 or 3 days for you to unwind from the stress of what you're doing. And then by that point in time where you're starting to relax, it's time to get ready to gear back up again. And so then your body goes back into fight mode. And so, like I said, for me, it was really once the doctor said, you have a brain tumor, and I said, okay, I get an opportunity to get a second chance here if it's not cancer. And if it's not cancer, like, what am I going to do differently? Like, how do I get off this merry-go-round ride and do something different with my life that is ultimately going to make my heart sing again and bring joy to my life? And that's what I sought out and was like, okay, this is it. Like, this is what I really want to do. I want to be able to take my love for horses and combine that with my passion of helping people and coaching people and allowing them to discover and have the big ahas. I mean, that's really what is juicy about what I do in the coaching world is, I as a coach, I don't believe that I have the answers. I believe you, the client, hold all the answers. I don't know what your truth is. I only get to hold up the mirror and help you discover what those golden nuggets are for you. Because ultimately, I can share with you what I think might be going on or the experience you're having with the horse. However, I bring my life experiences into that response. And that may be my truth of what I'm seeing and feeling. However, that may not be your truth, and it may resonate with you, and it may be your truth based on what I've heard or what I've felt or what the horse is intuitively, sharing with me. However, ultimately, I may be way off base because of what I have going on with my own life experiences and, trauma and whatever else that I've sustained in my life.
Okay, how long and